All right, so we've got this Atalanta versus Juventus match coming up.
Yeah.
Tuesday the 14th, 7:45 p.m. GMT.
Big one.
At Gewiss Stadium in Bergamo.
Looks huge.
I think the interesting thing here is this is more than just a game, right?
Oh, absolutely. This is a clash of styles.
This is Atalanta attack, attack, attack.
Yeah.
Juventus, the wall. So we've got a full match preview. We're going to look at the stats.
Love it.
Recent form. We've even got some betting tips.
Ooh.
By the time we're done here, you will be able to
Look out.
see this match unfold before it even happens.
It's like a tactical chess match, you know, two of the most...
Love that.
A chess match.
Fascinating teams in Serie A.
All right, so let's set the board. Current standings.
All right.
Atalanta, sitting pretty, second place.
Yeah.
They've got 3 wins, 2 draws, and just the 1 loss in their last 6.
Mm-hmm.
But they're averaging 2 goals a match. That's not just winning.
Right.
That's dominating.
Absolutely. And I think that's the crucial point here. It's not just about the points. It's the way they're getting them.
Right. That attacking style is a statement.
Yeah. And then you've got Juventus down in 5th.
Yep.
2 wins, 3 draws, and a loss in their last 6, but only allowing 0.8 goals a match.
Classic Juventus.
Yeah. So is that how they're grinding out these results?
Mm-hmm.
Because their win rate in those last 6 is only 33%, while Atalanta's sitting at 50.
It's a fascinating question, isn't it? Are they playing not to lose rather than to win?
Yeah.
Juventus has always been known for their pragmatism, but this seems to be a little extreme even for them.
And this is where I think home advantage is going to come in.
For sure.
Because Atalanta at Gewiss Stadium, 3 wins, a draw, and a loss in their last 5 at home.
Okay.
But they're scoring 2.4 goals at home.
Yeah, that's
the
a
big guy.
stat that should have Juventus worried.
Absolutely. Away from home, 2 wins, 2 draws, and a loss in their last 5. But they're only scoring 1.4 goals per game.
How will they handle that Atalanta crowd? How will they handle that relentless attack?
Yeah, good questions. All right, so let's get into the tactics a little bit.
Yeah, let's do it.
I'm looking at this preview, and just some of these numbers are fascinating.
Okay.
Atalanta's got a 40% chance of a clean sheet.
Right.
Juventus has 50.
Interesting.
But Atalanta is less likely to fail to score, only 20%, compared to Juventus's 30%.
So that really highlights the contrast in their approaches, right?
Yeah.
You've got Juventus, they're built to stifle, to frustrate.
Right.
They might concede a few chances, but they're going to trust that defense to hold.
They're going to bend, not break.
Exactly. But then you've got Atalanta all about creating chaos in the opponent's half.
All right, so how does that actually translate onto the pitch?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, on paper, Juventus's defense looks amazing. They're only letting in 0.8 goals per game.
Right.
But Atalanta's scoring 2 goals a game.
Well, you got to ask yourself, if Juventus sits back, absorbs that pressure, can they contain Atalanta's attack for a full 90 minutes?
Yeah.
Because I think what we could see is a very aggressive Atalanta.
Yeah.
Pressing high, forcing Juventus into mistakes that they don't usually make.
So we're not just talking about, like, players here.
No.
We're talking about systems clashing.
It's a clash of systems, and I think the key matchup here is going to be that Atalanta midfield against the Juventus backline. If Atalanta can win that battle, they can dictate the tempo, they can pin Juventus back, it's going to be fascinating to see how Allegri, their manager, plans to counter that.
Speaking of managers, are there any injuries, suspensions we need to be aware of?
Thankfully, no. Looks like both sides will have full squads available.
Okay, so it all comes down to tactics.
Tactics and mentality. Which manager can outsmart the other?
All right, so now for the part I know you've all been waiting for, predictions.
Let's hear it.
Preview has the draw as the most likely outcome.
Okay.
40%.
Yeah.
Atalanta win at 35%, Juventus win at 25%.
So on the surface, it makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Classic unstoppable force versus the immovable object.
Yeah.
But I'm curious about those underlying numbers.
Okay.
Could this be one of those games where the stats just don't tell the whole story?
All right, let's get into it.
Let's go. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at these betting markets, and they're leaning towards a draw, but I almost think you got to look beyond the numbers sometimes.
Okay.
How do these two teams match up psychologically? How do these two styles clash in a way that might not be reflected in simple stats?
All right, so let's get into the betting tips a little bit deeper.
Okay.
The preview says both teams to score, likely outcome. Is that just because Atalanta's so good at finding the net?
Well, that's definitely a big part of it, right?
Yeah.
You got to remember they're averaging 2 goals a match.
Right.
Even Juventus, with that incredible defensive record, they're going to be tested.
Right.
But it's also worth considering that Juventus is not completely toothless in attack.
Right.
They're averaging 1.2 goals per game.
Yeah.
And they can be very dangerous on the counter.
Okay, so even if they are sitting back, they could punish any mistakes Atalanta makes. So then the preview also says under 2.5 total goals is likely.
Right.
Which seems a little counterintuitive if we're expecting goals from both sides.
I think it's all about control. Allegri, the Juventus manager, is a master at slowing down the game, turning it into a tactical battle rather than this free-flowing attacking display.
Right.
If they can frustrate Atalanta, limit their chances, they can keep that scoreline low even if they do concede a goal.
So we might be in for like a tense, cagey affair where every goal just feels massive.
Yeah.
All right, what about this double chance bet on Atalanta or draw? That seems like the safe option here.
It certainly is the bet that minimizes risk. You know, Atalanta, tough to beat at home. And even if Juventus can stifle their attack, a draw is a very real possibility.
Right.
But you got to remember, safe bets usually mean lower payouts.
Right.
So if you're feeling confident, there are some more adventurous parlay options out there.
Okay, let's hear them. I'm always up for a calculated gamble.
All right, so one option combines that Atalanta or draw double chance with the both teams to score prediction.
Okay.
You're essentially betting on Atalanta's strength at home and the likelihood of an open, exciting game.
I like it.
All right.
What's the other option?
This one's a bit more conservative.
Okay.
It combines that Atalanta or draw double chance with under 3.5 goals.
Okay.
You're playing the odds here.
Yeah.
Betting on a tight, low-scoring match where Atalanta's home advantage might be enough to secure at least a point.
So it all comes down to, I guess, your risk tolerance.
Yeah.
And how you see this game unfolding tactically. Do you think Allegri is going to set up Juventus to just defend deep and try to hit Atalanta on the counter?
That is the big question, isn't it?
Yeah.
If they do that, how will Atalanta respond?
Yeah.
Will they have the patience to break down that defense? Or will they get frustrated and leave themselves vulnerable on the counter?
Well, I imagine Gasperini, the Atalanta manager.
Right.
He's got a few tricks up his sleeve.
Oh, for sure.
He's known for this, like, aggressive attacking style. Do you think he'll stick with that against Juventus?
Well, it's hard to imagine him completely abandoning his philosophy.
Yeah.
But he's not naive.
Right.
He's going to have to find a way to balance that attacking flair with maybe a little more defensive solidity. Right. Otherwise, Juventus could punish them.
All right, so what are some like key tactical battles that you're watching for?
Well, I think the midfield battle is going to be absolutely crucial.
Yeah.
Atalanta needs to control that area of the pitch if they want to dominate possession and create those chances. Juventus, on the other hand, they're going to be looking to disrupt Atalanta's rhythm and launch quick counterattacks.
So I'm also interested in like the individual matchups here.
Yeah.
Atalanta has some really dangerous attackers.
For sure.
Jovan Zapata. Yeah. Luis Muriel. These guys can cause problems for any defense.
Yeah. How do you think Juventus are going to contain them?
Well, you mentioned Bonucci as kind of the key figure defensively.
Yeah.
But he can't be everywhere at once, can he?
No, he can't. And that's where Atalanta's tactical flexibility could come into play.
Okay.
They can attack from wide areas. They can try to isolate Zapata against a single defender.
Yeah.
They can use these quick passing combinations to break down that Juventus defense.
And even if they can create those chances, it's got to be Szczesny in goal.
Right.
I mean, he's proven time and again he can be a game changer for Juventus.
He's their last line of defense, and a very reliable one at that.
Yeah.
But Atalanta can't let that intimidate them.
Right.
Got to be brave, take their chances, and test him early and often.
This is why I love these deep dives.
Me too.
We're not just looking at the surface here.
No.
We're getting into the heart of this match.
Yeah.
The tactical nuances, the psychological factors, the individual battles that could decide the outcome.
It's what makes it so compelling, right?
Right.
A clash of two very different philosophies. Two teams with clear strengths and potential weaknesses.
Yeah.
You really can't predict with certainty what's going to happen.
Right.
But we can appreciate all these layers of complexity that make this a must-watch game.
Absolutely. Yeah. So as we kind of wrap up this deep dive, what's your final thought for our listener as they get ready for Tuesday night?
Okay, well, I think the key question here is, can Atalanta impose their will on Juventus? Or will Juventus control the tempo and frustrate Atalanta's attack?
Right.
It's a battle of wills as much as it is a battle of tactics. If Atalanta can play with that same energy and aggression they usually show at home, they've got a real chance of breaking down that Juventus defense. But if Juventus can weather the storm, stay organized, and take their chances on the counter, they could steal a win.
All right. I am officially hyped for this match thanks to this deep dive. I'm going into Tuesday night with a whole new level of understanding and appreciation for what's at stake here.
Absolutely.
That's all for this episode of the Deep Dive.
See ya.
So are you saying like those past results could actually weigh on Atalanta's minds?
It's definitely something to consider, right? Yeah. Momentum and confidence can be such powerful forces in football.
Yeah, they'll want to prove that those previous losses were just like blips.
Right.
Not a sign of some like fundamental weakness against Juventus' style.
Exactly. This match becomes a test of their resilience. Can they learn from those past encounters?
Right.
Can they adapt their approach?
Yeah, this is what makes this so much more than just like a matchup of stats and formations.
Absolutely.
It's a psychological battle as much as a physical one.
For sure. And speaking of physical battles, there's some key individual matchups that I'm really excited to see play out.
I mean, we talked about Atalanta's attacking threats, Zapata and Muriel.
Yeah.
How do you see them faring against that Juventus backline?
Well, you mentioned Bonucci. He's kind of the key figure there defensively.
Yeah.
But he can't be everywhere at once.
No, he can't. And that's where Atalanta's tactical flexibility could really come into play.
Okay.
I mean, they can attack from wide areas.
Right.
They can try to isolate Zapata against a single defender. They could use those quick passing combinations to break down that Juventus defense.
Yeah. And even if they can create those chances, they've still got to get past Chesney.
Right.
He's proven time and time again that he can be a game changer.
Yeah, he's their last line of defense, and a very reliable one at that.
Yeah.
But Atalanta just can't let that intimidate them.
Right.
They need to be brave, take their chances, and test him early and often.
This is why I love these deep dives.
Me too.
We're not just looking at the surface level.
We're getting into the real heart of this match.
Absolutely.
The tactical nuances, the psychological factors, the individual battles that could decide the outcome.
It's what makes this match so compelling, right? It's a clash of two very different philosophies. Two teams with clear strengths and potential weaknesses.
Right.
You really can't predict with certainty what will happen.
Right.
But we can appreciate all these layers of complexity that make this a must-watch game.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, any final thoughts for our listener as they get ready for Tuesday night? What should they be watching for?
Well, I think the key question is, can Atalanta impose their will on Juventus?
Okay.
Or will Juventus control the tempo and frustrate that Atalanta attack?
Right.
You know, it's a battle of wills as much as a battle of tactics. If Atalanta can play with that same energy and aggression they usually show at home, they have a real chance to break down that Juventus defense.
Yeah.
But if Juventus can weather that storm, stay organized,
and take their chances on the counter,
they
could steal a win.
I am so hyped for this match thanks to this deep dive.
Me too.
I'm going into Tuesday night with a whole new level of understanding and appreciation for what's at stake here.
For sure.
Well, that's all for this deep dive.
Awesome.
We'll be back soon with another one.
Sounds good.
Until then, keep exploring, keep learning.
Yeah. Take care.